Ready to become fluent in English? Hit subscribe for expert tips and practical exercises that will elevate your speaking skills. Let's get started. I used to think life was a straight path: study hard, get a good job, fall in love, and live happily ever after. But as time passed, I learned that life is more like a winding road, filled with unexpected turns. My story began on one of those unexpected days, a day when everything changed. A chance encounter. It was a rainy evening, and I was hurrying home after a long day at work. The city streets were crowded, and everyone seemed to be in a rush. As I passed a small bookstore, something made me stop. The warm glow of light spilling from the window felt inviting, a stark contrast to the cold rain outside. I stepped inside, shaking off the water from my coat. The smell of old books filled the air, instantly calming my restless mind. Behind the counter stood a woman with the kindest eyes I had ever seen. Her name tag read Sophia. "Looking for something special?" she asked, her voice soft and welcoming. I hesitated. I don't know. Maybe something to inspire me? Sophia smiled and handed me a small book with a worn cover. "This one's about finding hope when you least expect it. Think you'll like it." The spark of change. That night, I started reading the book. Its simple yet profound lessons struck a chord in my heart. Spoke about gratitude, perseverance, and the importance of seeing beauty even in tough times. Inspired, I decided to return the next day to thank Sophia. Over the weeks, our conversations grew deeper. Sophia wasn't just selling books. She was a dreamer who believed in helping people rediscover their purpose. Her positivity was contagious, and I found myself looking forward to our talks. One day, as I shared my struggles with her, she said something that stayed with me. Life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. Taking the leap. With her encouragement, I decided to revisit an old dream of mine: starting a community art center where people could express themselves. I was terrified of failing, but Sophia's unwavering belief in me gave me the courage to try. Together, we worked to bring the idea to life. Sophia helped me design flyers, organize events, and even gather donations. Slowly, the art center became a safe space for people to share their stories, their pain, and their joy. Love in the details. As the months turned into years, Sophia and I grew closer. Our shared passion for helping others deepened our connection. And one evening, under a sky full of stars, I confessed my feelings to her. To my relief, she felt the same. A glimmer of hope for others. Today, the Art Center is thriving, and Sophia and I are partners in both love and purpose. We often sit by the window of the bookstore, now co-owned by us, watching the rain and smiling at the people who come in looking for hope, just as I once did. Our journey taught me that even in the darkest times, a glimmer of hope can light the way. Sometimes, it's a stranger, a book, or a conversation that sets the ripple in motion. And when you follow that ripple, you might just find a life more beautiful than you ever imagined. Moral of the story: 1. Small moments can lead to big changes. Never underestimate the power of a chance encounter. 2. Hope is contagious. By sharing positivity, you can inspire others to take bold steps. 3. Pursue your passions with courage. True fulfillment comes from aligning your life with your dreams. Part 2. The Art Center continued to grow beyond anything Sophia and I could have imagined. It became more than a creative space. It became a hub for community transformation. People came not just to paint or write, but to heal, to connect, and to find themselves again. One afternoon, as I was setting up for an event, a young woman hesitantly walked in. She looked lost, clutching a notebook to her chest. "I heard about this place," she said softly. I don't know if I belong here." I smiled, recognizing the fear in her voice, the same fear I had once felt. "Everyone belongs here," I said. "Would you like to join our poetry workshop?" Her eyes lit up, and she nodded. Weeks later, that same young woman shared a poem at our open mic night that moved everyone to tears. She later told us it was the first time she had ever felt confident enough to share her words. The ripple continues. Sophia and I realized that the impact of our efforts extended far beyond us. The people who came to the Art Center started their own projects. One opened a cafe where local artists could display their work. Another began a mentorship program for at-risk youth. The ripple effect was unstoppable. We often sat together, marveling at how a single moment, the rainy evening when I walked into her bookstore, had led to this. A personal turning point. One day, while organizing books in the bookstore, Sophia turned to me with a thoughtful expression. "Do you ever think about how all of this started?" she asked. "All the time," I replied. "It started with you. If you hadn't handed me that book, none of this would have happened." Sophia shook her head. "No, It started with you deciding to step inside. You could have walked past, but you didn't. That's what changed everything. Her words made me realize something profound. The power of small choices. We don't always see it at the time, but those tiny decisions can shape our entire lives. Forever grateful. Years later, as Sophia and I celebrated the Art Center's 10th anniversary, I gave a speech to a room full of friends, artists, and dreamers. This place, I began, isn't just about art. It's about hope. It's about believing that every person has something beautiful to offer, even if they don't see it yet. And it's about the power of saying yes to opportunities, yes to risk, and yes to each other. As the room erupted into applause, I looked at Sophia, who was smiling through tears. And it's all because of you, I said, my voice breaking. Sophia took my hand and whispered, "No. It's because of us." The end of one chapter, the start of another. Sophia and I spent the rest of our lives nurturing the art center and the bookstore. We watched generations of people find their spark and go on to light up the world. Even as time took its toll and we grew older, we held on to the belief that small acts of kindness could change the course of someone's life. When I reflect on our journey now, I see it as a series of simple choices, each one leading to something extraordinary. And I am endlessly grateful that I chose to step inside that bookstore on a rainy evening. The ripple effect continues, carried forward by every life we touched, and every dream ignited. Moral of the story: 1. Small choices can create big impacts. Your actions, no matter how small, can inspire others in ways you may never know. 2. Kindness multiplies. A simple act of kindness can ripple outward, touching countless lives. 3. Together, we achieve more. True success is found in collaboration, love, and shared purpose. Part 3. As the years passed, the art center and bookstore became more than just physical spaces. They became symbols of resilience and hope in our community. Sophia and I poured our hearts into them, and in return, they gave us something we hadn't expected: a sense of purpose that transcended our individual dreams. Facing challenges together, Thor's. Not every day was easy. There were moments when the center struggled financially. Attendance dropped during tough economic times. And there were nights when Sophia and I stayed up late, wondering if we could keep the doors open. But each time we doubted, something miraculous happened. A local artist would offer to teach a free workshop. A donor would step forward unexpectedly. Or a community member would share how much the center meant to them. One evening, during one of our lowest points, a man named Victor walked into the bookstore. He had been a regular visitor years ago, attending our painting classes. Now, he was a successful entrepreneur. "I owe my confidence to this place," he said, handing us a check. "You helped me believe in myself. And now it's my turn to give back." His generosity allowed us to expand the center, adding a new wing for digital arts, a dream we had long shelved. A new generation takes over. As time went on, we noticed a new trend. Young people who had once been mentored at the art center began returning as mentors themselves. They brought fresh ideas, energy, and a vision for the future. Sophia and I realized that the ripple effect we had started was now a wave. We decided it was time to take a step back and let the younger generation lead. One of those young leaders was Mia, the shy poet who had once walked in clutching her notebook. Now a confident woman, she proposed new programs that connected the center with schools, hospitals, and even prisons. Art should be for everyone, she said passionately. And we couldn't agree more. The farewell. After decades of service, Sophia and I announced our retirement. The community threw us a farewell party, and the turnout was overwhelming. People from all walks of life came to share their stories of how the art center and bookstore had changed their lives. As I stood before the crowd to give my final speech, I felt a lump in my throat. Sophia and I started this journey with nothing but hope. I began. We didn't know if it would work or if anyone would care. But what we learned is that when you plant a seed of kindness, it grows into something far greater than you ever imagined. Sophia took the microphone next. "This isn't goodbye," she said. "The art center and bookstore are yours now. Keep dreaming. Keep creating. And keep believing in the power of small acts of love." A legacy of love. In our retirement, Sophia and I traveled the world, visiting art centers and bookstores inspired by our work. We saw the ripple effect in action, and it filled us with pride. One rainy evening, as we sat by the window of a cafe in Paris, watching the raindrops blur the city lights, Sophia turned to me and said, "Do you remember that night when you walked into my bookstore?" I smiled. How could I forget? That was the night everything changed. Sophia reached for my hand. "No," she said, her voice filled with emotion. That was the night we began. The final ripple. When Sophia and I eventually left this world, We knew the ripple would continue. The art center, the bookstore, and the lives we touched, all of it would carry forward, fueled by love and hope. And if I could leave you with one thought, it would be this: no act of kindness is ever wasted. Each small gesture, each spark of hope, creates ripples that touch lives in ways we may never see. So, if you ever find yourself standing in the rain, unsure of where to go, remember this story. Step inside, take the leap, and let the ripples begin. Moral of the story: 1. Your legacy is built on love. The impact you make through kindness and purpose will outlive you. 2. Pass the torch. Empower others to carry forward the dreams you've started. 3. Every ending is a new beginning. Even when one chapter closes, the story continues in beautiful ways. Part 4: Life after the farewell. Retirement wasn't the end of Sophia's and my journey. It was the beginning of a new chapter. We spent our days traveling to places we had only dreamed of before. Each destination offered us fresh inspiration and countless moments to reflect on how far we had come. During our visit to Kyoto, we wandered through a serene bamboo forest. Sophia stopped to take a deep breath, closing her eyes. "Do you hear that?" she asked. I listened but heard only the rustle of leaves in the wind. "What is it?" I asked. "It's peace," she said with a gentle smile. "The kind you only feel when you've lived a life full of purpose." Her words stayed with me as we explored the beauty of life outside the art center and bookstore.
À surprise en Kunte.
One rainy evening, while sitting in a small cafe in Rome, I noticed a man staring at us from across the room. After some hesitation, he approached our table. "Excuse me," he said, his voice trembling. "You're the founders of the art center back home, aren't you?" We nodded, curious. "I don't think you remember me," he continued. "But years ago, I was a troubled teenager. I came to one of your free painting classes. You probably didn't notice, but that class saved me. It gave me something to focus on, something to hope for." Sophia's eyes filled with tears as he went on to share how that single act of kindness had steered his life in a new direction. Now, he was a successful architect, traveling the world and inspiring others. "Thank you," he said before leaving, "for everything." As the door closed behind him, I turned to Sophia. "You see? The ripples are everywhere." Back to where it began. Years later, we returned to the little town where it all started. The bookstore had grown, with new sections for children, technology, and even a small cafe. The art center now had 3 floors, each bustling with activity. We walked through the familiar halls, greeted by faces old and new. Mia, now the director of the center, greeted us with open arms. "It's because of you two that any of this exists," she said.
No.
Sophia replied, her voice filled with warmth. "It exists because people believed. That's all it takes, belief in something bigger than yourself." A final note: as the years passed, we slowed down, spending more time at home, reflecting on our journey. On a quiet morning, Sophia handed me a journal filled with her handwriting. "What's this?" I asked. "It's our story," she said. "For anyone who needs to know that hope, love, and small actions can change the world." We decided to have the journal published, donating all proceeds to the Art Center and other community projects. The book became a bestseller, reaching people far beyond what we could have imagined. Letters poured in from readers who found strength and inspiration in our journey. The legacy lives on. When Sophia passed peacefully in her sleep, I felt an ache that words could never capture. But I also felt immense gratitude for the life we had shared and the legacy we had built. On the anniversary of her passing, the community gathered at the Art Center for a memorial. As I stood in front of the crowd, I shared Sophia's favorite words. "Life isn't about the big moments, it's about the small, meaningful ones that create ripples. It's about stepping inside on a rainy day, believing in a dream, and never underestimating the power of love. A glimmer of hope lives on, even now. The ripples continue." The Art Center and bookstore thrive under new leadership, carrying forward the vision we started. And as for me, I find comfort in knowing that every choice we made, every risk we took, and every person we helped became part of a story far greater than ourselves. Moral of the story: 1. Your impact lasts beyond your lifetime. True success is measured in the lives you touch and inspire. 2. Small acts create endless ripples. A simple gesture can spark a chain of events that changes the world. 3. Carry the torch. The best way to honor someone's legacy is to continue their work with passion and purpose. Then, a glimmer of hope. The bookstore and art center continue to thrive, standing as a testament to what love, perseverance, and belief in a dream can achieve. The community cherishes the spaces as more than just buildings. They are sanctuaries where creativity and kindness blossom. As for me, I carry Sophia's memory in everything I do. Though she is no longer physically by my side, her spirit is woven into every brushstroke, every word, and every dream nurtured within those walls. Whenever I feel her absence, I return to the art center and sit quietly in the gallery. I watch as children paint with joy. Poets recite their verses. And strangers become friends over shared passions. I see Sophia in all of them, her vision alive and thriving. I've come to realize that our greatest work wasn't just creating a bookstore or an art center. It was planting seeds of hope in the hearts of others. And so, the story of a glimmer of hope continues, carried forward by the people who believe in its message. Sophia and I started with a single idea. And now, its ripples stretch far beyond anything we could have imagined. As I sit here, penning this final note, I leave you with the same thought that carried us through every storm. The world doesn't need you to be perfect, it needs you to care, to dream, and to act. And when you do, you'll discover that a single ripple of hope can create waves of change. Moral of the story: a dreams fueled by love and persistence can outlive us and impact generations. Every small step matters. Even the tiniest acts of kindness can grow into something monumental. A true success is not about personal gain, but the legacy of hope and joy we leave behind. Let's enrich our vocabulary with some new words. 1. Perseverance. Definition: continuing to work towards something despite difficulties or delays. Example: the success of the art center was due to their perseverance, even during tough times. 2. Testament. Definition: evidence or proof of something's existence or truth. Example: the thriving bookstore is a testament to their dedication and vision. 3. Sanctuary. Definition: a safe and peaceful place. Example: the art center became a sanctuary for people seeking inspiration and support. 4. Creativity. Definition: the ability to use imagination to produce new ideas or works. Example: the children express their creativity through painting and storytelling. 5. Memory. Definition: the act of remembering or honoring someone or something. Example: he honored Sophia's memory by continuing their shared mission. 6. Vision. Definition: the ability to imagine a future goal or dream. Example: Sophia's vision for the bookstore transformed it into a hub for the community. 7. Thrive. Definition: to grow, develop, or be successful. Example: the bookstore thrived as people gathered there to connect and learn. 8. Inspiration. Definition: a feeling that motivates you to act or create. Example: Sophia's life was an inspiration to everyone who knew her. 9. Legacy. Definition: something handed down from the past, especially from one generation to the next. Example: their greatest legacy was the art center that continued to inspire countless people. 10. Ripples. Definition: small waves or effects that spread outward from a central point. Example: the kindness they shared created ripples of positivity in the community. 11. Impact. Definition: a strong effect on someone or something. Example: their work had a lasting impact on the lives of young artists. 12. Dream. Definition: a cherished ambition or goal. Example: they started with a simple dream to make art accessible to everyone. Teen. Thrive. Definition: to flourish or grow in a healthy way. Example: the center thrived because of the community's support. 14. Passion. Definition: strong enthusiasm or interest. Example: their passion for art and literature. I'm so glad you spent this time with me. If you like the story, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Take care, and see you next time.